Hi guys, my name is Elise. Welcome back to another week with the Foundry Kids, and welcome to week 3 of our Christmas series called The Big Give. I am super excited to share our lesson with you guys this week, and before we do that, we're going to stand up and sing a song. Our story this week comes from the book of Luke, chapter 2, and this week we are talking about the biggest gift ever given, which is Jesus. That's right, we are talking about the real reason of Christmas, the birth of Jesus this week. And our lesson today comes from Luke 2, verses 1 through 7. And before we get into our lesson, I also want to talk about Advent. Now, this is the week before Christmas, so this is considered the last week of Advent, and we're talking about joy this week. And we're talking about joy because we can have so much joy because Jesus came down to earth as a baby. Jesus is who he said he is, and that can just bring us so much joy because Jesus is the greatest gift of all. So let's learn more about why Jesus is the greatest gift of all.
All right, it's time for
The Story Before the Story.
Today, we're in the third book of the New Testament, Luke. But before Luke, in the very beginning, out of love, God made an amazing world. But when people turned away from God, the world was broken.
God made a plan to bless the whole world through the Israelites, but over and over, God's people would run to God and then pull away, just like a yo-yo.
Then, foreign nations invaded and captured the Israelites. They must have wondered if God still loved them and if he had a plan for them. God spoke through prophets about the great rescuer God would send.
And at last, after hundreds of years, God sent an angel to tell a girl named Mary she would have a very special baby.
Which is where our story starts.
Take it away.
Yeah, everybody.
Hey,
Hey,
Brian.
Brian.
Okay, the stage was set. After so many long years, God's amazing rescue plan was underway. And God actually used a foreign king to help carry out that plan. The Jewish people lived under Roman rule, and the Roman leader Caesar Augustus needed money for his fine palaces and large army.
I command a census of every single person in my entire empire.
That meant that every person had to be counted and placed on a list to pay expensive taxes to Rome. And news of this census traveled all the way from Rome to the tiny town of Nazareth in Judea, on the very edge of the Roman Empire.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Every person must go immediately to their own hometown to be listed.
A carpenter named Joseph and the girl he was engaged to marry, named Mary, heard the decree.
I guess I'll be making a road trip to Bethlehem.
I guess we'll be making a road trip to Bethlehem.
Both Joseph and Mary had been born into the family line of King David, so they would have to make the week-long journey to Bethlehem, the town of David, in order to be counted. Now, this was more than a little inconvenient, as Mary was nearly ready to have a baby whose birth had been announced by an angel.
You will become pregnant and give birth to a son. You must call him Jesus. He will be great and will be called the Son of the Most High God.
The trip from Nazareth to Bethlehem was about 70 miles, which is just a couple hours by car, but a whole week of travel on foot or by donkey. The journey was long and dusty. Camping out on the rough ground could not have been very comfortable for Mary. At last, Mary and Joseph saw the town of Bethlehem. They must have been ready for a hot bath and a quiet place to stay after that long journey. But the little town of Bethlehem was not so still and silent. Lots of other people had come to be counted as well. They filled every inn and guest room in town.
There has got to be room for us somewhere. Have we checked with all of your relatives?
Even my great Aunt Hulda and my third cousins twice removed.
Finally, the very last home that Mary and Joseph tried had a room. Sort of. They were offered a place to stay with the animals.
I don't know about this.
It's dry. It's warm, and this baby really, really, really needs a place to be born.
So Mary and Joseph settled into their most unusual guest room, and there with the cows, moo, and sheep, meh, and chickens, pop, Mary's brand new baby boy was born.
It's just like the angel told you. And his name?
The angel said we must call him Jesus.
Mary wrapped her baby tightly in long strips of cloth to keep him warm and cozy. There was no crib or cradle, so she placed him in a manger. The king of the entire world slept peacefully in the animal's feeding trough as Mary and Joseph looked on, and outside, the nighttime sky blazed with stars. God's very own son, the best gift ever, came into the world in the most unexpected way. And the birth announcement, well, I'm just gonna save that for later.
Most amazing birth story ever.
You know, nobody understood it then, but this tiny baby was going to grow up to teach and heal and show people what God was like. And then Jesus would choose to lay down his life and the whole world to defeat death itself.
That is some Christmas gift.
Not exactly something you just find on an Amazon wish list.
So, what's our part in the story?
Well, our world gets wrapped up in hoping for so many different things, you know? We want everything from world peace down to a shiny new skateboard, and that's great. But in the middle of it all, be sure to remember the most important gift.
Right. So find a quiet moment to thank God for the gift of Jesus and ask God to help you walk with Jesus every moment of the coming year.
Yeah, because knowing Jesus is an amazing gift that you can open every single day.
I think you've got it. So, Merry Christmas! Ho, 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 ho! See you next
Merry
time.
Christmas. Bye,
Bye, Brian.
I know that getting gifts can be really exciting, especially because we are talking about getting the best gift ever, which is Jesus. But this week, I also want you guys to think about a gift that would be fun to give. If you have a gift that you're excited to give someone, like in your family or your friends, why don't you let me know? I can't wait to hear about it. And I can't wait to see you guys next week, which will be on Christmas Day. And remember, it's just going to be a video next week. We're not going to meet in person. So I'll see you guys next week. Bye.